Hey, what's up, guys? It's officially March. We're into the best time of the year for college basketball. Conference tournaments just kicked off a couple days ago in the ASUN. Next couple days, we're going to start to see more and more of the mid-major tournaments get started. And so it's just a good time of the year. We got another Bracketology today. So that'll be fun. We only got one or two more of these before we got the real deal in just 11 days now. So it's a fun time for college basketball. I'm looking forward to today's video. So with that being said, let's jump into it. All right, so in the top left corner of the bracket here, we got Purdue versus Norfolk State or Central Connecticut. Purdue just picked up another fantastic win yesterday at Illinois. Arguably, they've had a ton of great wins this year. Arguably, that was the most impressive, given that it was senior night for Illinois, on the road, hostile environment. So another impressive win for them, but they shouldn't have an issue against either of those teams. So now we got Texas versus Mississippi State. Texas just coming off that game where they blew, I think, a 14-point lead to Baylor. Max Asmus went crazy in that one, but they came up short. And Dessou got hurt as well, but hopefully it's not too long of an injury. Versus Mississippi State, we know what type of defensive juggernaut Mississippi State is, and that the defensive prowess of Mississippi State gives me faith that I think they can beat Texas in this game. I just think in round one of the tournament, you know, when shots sometimes don't fall early, it's good to rely on a good defense. So I like this matchup here for Mississippi State and the Bulldogs. All right, so now we got Clemson versus Richmond. I like Clemson, what they've been doing more recently. They've been, you know, they kind of weathered a little struggle earlier in ACC play. I think they had like a 1-4 stretch. They've been coming on strong this past month. They're looking like a really solid team. I like PJ Hall a lot. I like that Joe Girard can stretch, you know, he always stretches defenses with his three-point shooting. I like what Clemson's doing. So I'm going to go with Clemson here. I like what I've been seeing out of them lately. Now we got Kentucky, Appalachian State. Appalachian State is a serious contender to be a Cinderella in this tournament. They just have a ton of experience. Their whole starting lineup is upperclassmen. Tons of juniors starting this team, some seniors. They have a couple seniors too. So it's a super experienced team, 16-2 in conference. They beat Auburn this year. They beat James Madison twice. James Madison's 28-3. So this is a really good Appalachian State team, and Kentucky can play down to the competition at times. At least they did earlier in non-conference play. Now, this is a better Kentucky team at this point in the year, but still, we've seen Kentucky play down, and with their lack of defense, I think there's an opportunity for them to be upset here, and I'm going to roll the dice with that. So we're going to have Appalachian State knock off Kentucky in the first round. Now we got Wisconsin versus South Florida. South Florida is the hottest team in college basketball. They have not lost since January 7th, which is crazy. They're just playing fantastic. And then we got Wisconsin, who you know recently had a 4-game skid. They're starting to play a little bit better, but still have definitely been trending down as the season has gone on. You know what? I'm gonna go with another upset here. I'm going with the hot-handed. I'm going with South Florida. There's no team hotter in college basketball right now. I'm gonna say they keep it going and they stay hot. Now we got Baylor and Oakland. There's a ton to like about Baylor right now. They just have so many different guys that can score. 6 guys in double figures. There's a lot to like about this Baylor team. They have a makeup of a team that can really make a run in March. Multiple scoring guards, a 4-man that can stretch the floor in Jalen Bridges, Yves Missi, one of the best interior defenders and interior players in college basketball. There's just a lot to like about this Baylor team, and I think they can get by Oakland in this one. Now we got Dayton versus Oklahoma. This one's a pick'em. This is 50-50 to me. I don't have a strong lean either way, but when it's a 50-50 pick'em game, I like to lean towards the team that has an NBA level talent on it, and I think, you know, Day'Ron Holmes is that for Dayton. So I'm gonna go with Dayton. He gives me the edge to believe in them more than Oklahoma right now, because he's a guy that can get, you know, 20 and 9, you know, on most nights. So I'm gonna go with Dayton. Now we got Marquette versus Sam Houston. I think Marquette should be fine here. I think they should get by Sam Houston, no problem. Now let's go back to the top, Purdue versus Mississippi State. Mississippi State, the way they defend, makes me believe that they might be able to hang tough with Purdue, at least for a good while. I just don't know if they have enough offense. I think that's the issue here. I don't know if they have enough offense to beat Purdue. and I think that's the deciding factor. I think they hang tough, though. I think they give Purdue a challenge, but I'm going to have Purdue move on. Now we got Clemson versus Appalachian State. This is a good one. This is a good game. I could go either way here, but I definitely think Appalachian State can be a Cinderella this year, just with the experience and the fact that they've beaten good teams. Like, they haven't had a ton of opportunity to get like quad one wins, but when they've had the opportunity, they've taken them. So I'm going with Appalachian State here to make a little Cinderella run to the Sweet 16. Now we got South Florida and Baylor. I talked about what I like about Baylor. I really do. There's a lot to like about this Baylor team. I don't necessarily know if they're national title good, but I definitely think they're good enough to make a run in this tournament. And so I'm gonna have them beating South Florida in this one, ending the win streak. Hypothetically, if South Florida keeps winning. Now we got Dayton versus Marquette. As long as Tyler Kolek, his oblique injury isn't anything, that nags him into the tournament, that keeps nagging him into the tournament, I think Marquette will beat Dayton. I don't think Dayton will get this one. I just think there's too many options here. Iguodaro is fantastic. I like his ability to be a passing big. I just like Marquette in that one. Now we got Purdue, Appalachian State. I think here's where we see the Cinderella run end. I'm having Purdue beat Appalachian State. Now we got Baylor and Marquette. This one's close. I think these teams are evenly matched across the board. Both teams have multiple options to get, to score. They both have really good offenses. But right now I think I actually have a little more faith in Baylor than I do Marquette. So I'm gonna go with Baylor. I just like what I'm seeing out of them. I just like the fact that they have so many guys that can score, because if foul trouble really won't be an issue for them when you have so many guys that can score. And I just feel like they're a really complete team. Now Marquette's a pretty complete team too, but I'm gonna give the edge here to Baylor. I think it could go either way though, to be honest. Now we got Purdue versus Baylor in the Elite Eight. This would be a fantastic game. And Yves Missi, I think, could do a pretty good job slowing down Zach Edey. But, if he gets into foul trouble or something, that could be an issue. This one's close. I'm gonna go with Purdue here, because it still to me feels like this could be kind of like that 2019 Virginia, where you lose to they lost to a 16 seed. Next year they make a run and Virginia won it all. I don't know if Purdue will win it all, but I'm going Purdue to the Final Four here to beat Baylor in a close one. But Baylor could give Purdue all sorts of issues. Now going down to the lower left quadrant, we got Arizona versus Little Rock Grambling State. Arizona should get by, no issues there. Now we got Nevada, Michigan State here. Good backcourts. This is a good backcourt battle. Blackshear and Lucas for Nevada, one of the more experienced backcourts in the country for Nevada. And the Michigan State's got Tyson Walker, who's fantastic, AJ Hoggard. So a lot of great experience in the backcourt in this game. Now the front courts are a little weaker, especially for Michigan State's front court is not very good. But Booker, he's been better recently. So, but this is pretty even to me. I think these teams are actually pretty even skill-wise, but I'm giving the edge here to Michigan State and Tom Izzo. Michigan State usually finds a way to win at least a game in March, so I can't bet against them. And I'd like to see Nevada win this one, but I'm going to go Michigan State. Now we got BYU versus Grand Canyon. Grand Canyon's going to be a trendy 12 seed, I think, for a lot of people to pick in March Madness, and for good reason. I think they can beat a lot of teams, but I just really like this BYU team. I think they have a great opportunity to make a run in March, depending on matchups, obviously, but I'm going BYU to beat Grand Canyon in that one. Now we got Illinois and Samford. I talked about it last week. Samford got paired up against Wazoo in last week's video. I think if Samford can get the right match, I definitely think Samford can pull off an upset in March. Washington State, the tallest team in college basketball. Illinois is not far behind. Illinois, every single starter is 6'6" and above. And Samford starts two guys that are 5'8" and 6 foot. So I just think the height issue here is a problem for Samford again, because guys like Marcus Damask like to play back to the basket and play bully ball and bully smaller guards. So and even if they choose to bring a double, I think it'll open up three-point shooters. So I just don't think this is a good matchup for Samford again. I think if they get the right matchup, Samford can win a game and pull up an upset, but I don't like this one for them, so I'm going Illinois. Now we got Florida versus New Mexico or Wake Forest. Wake Forest suffered a terrible loss yesterday to Georgia Tech. They're probably out of the tournament right now. But as of now, they're in this play-in game. And we got New Mexico versus Wake Forest. So let's just say New Mexico wins, because I don't think Wake Forest will be in as of now, versus Florida, which is a great matchup. Florida played amazing yesterday. They forced Bama to shoot bad from three again, which is really impressive. So the three-point defense is really good. I like Florida. Florida's a team I believe can really make a run in March this year. So, and I doubted them in my picks and predictions video yesterday. I shouldn't have, but so I'm going Florida. I just like them. I like New Mexico's guards, but I think Florida's a more complete team from one through 5. Now we got Creighton and High Point. Creighton's another team I'm super high on. There's just so many guys you can believe in. I like the makeup of the roster. It kind of reminds me of Baylor. You get because you have Kalkbrenner down low is a fantastic center. Baylor Shireman's kind of like the Jalen Bridges for Baylor. He's a 3-4 that can stretch the floor, shoots threes, rebounds extremely well. And then we know they have fantastic guards as well for Creighton. So I like Creighton a ton. They're going to get by High Point. Now we got Boise State and Florida Atlantic. I like Boise State. They play defense fantastic. They're really a tough team. They play with a lot of intensity anytime you watch a Boise State game. However, Florida Atlantic is a fantastic neutral court team. They've been fantastic going back to last year's tournament, and then earlier in the preseason tournaments, the early season tournaments, they were great on the neutral court. So I'm going to go Florida Atlantic again. They've had an up and down year, but I think the potential for a run is still maybe there for them. Now we got Iowa State versus Eastern Washington. I love what Iowa State's doing this year. The way they defend is fantastic. They have more options to score the ball. The jump Tamine Lipsey's made this year has been fantastic. I'm going Iowa State here. I don't think they struggle too much, but they might stay close for a little bit. Now we got Arizona, Michigan State. I don't think we're going to see all 4 1 seeds make the Sweet 16. That really doesn't happen that often. And if there's a 1 seed that's going down early, I think it's going to be Arizona out of the 1 seeds we have now. And so I'm going upset here. As long as they don't let Ballo go too crazy, and Ballo has not been as good as I was expecting him to be. He's had a good year, but he's not been as good as I was expecting him to be this year. So I'm going Michigan State to pull this one off against Arizona to get to the Sweet 16. Now we got BYU and Illinois. It's a fantastic game, a chance to be a classic in my eyes. Both teams score the ball so well. They both play, it's just fun offensive game. This would be. BYU likes to shoot a lot of threes. Illinois will take some threes, but then you got Terrence Shannon taking it to the basket. Marcus Damask playing, mid-range games. So it'd be fun. It'd be a fun game. But I think this is the year Illinois kind of breaks the curse and gets to the Sweet 16. It's been like 18 years now, I think, since they made the Sweet 16. So I think this is the year Illinois is going to make it. So we got Illinois over BYU in a classic. Now we got Florida Creighton. This sets up, to me, another fantastic game. I think this region has some really good games. Creighton versus Florida is tough. I think Creighton's a little more complete of a team. I like Kalkbrenner a ton. I talked about how I feel like from 1 through 5, they have almost everything I'd want in a team to make a run. So I'm gonna go Creighton, but wouldn't be shocked if Florida won that one. Now we got Florida Atlantic versus Iowa State. Now, as much as I do think Florida Atlantic can make a run, I just think this Iowa State defense would give them some issues here. I think it would give them some real issues. I think Iowa State would beat Florida Atlantic. Okay, so now we got a Big Ten battle up here, and then we got a Midwestern battle down here. Let's go up to the top. Michigan State versus Illinois. We've seen them play early in the year. Illinois won the game at home, but I can't remember if they played another time. But either way, in this matchup, I just think Illinois is the better team. I think they're the better team, and I think they get by Michigan State in this one. So now we got Creighton versus Iowa State. That's that Midwestern battle. I think it'd be a fun one here. But overall, I love Iowa State's defense. Their offense is it's not bad. It's better than it was earlier in the year. But still, I believe in Creighton more than I do Iowa State. So I'm gonna go Creighton in this one. I'm gonna go Creighton to beat Iowa State, setting up Illinois versus Creighton in the Elite Eight. Fantastic game. I hesitate to pick. I just don't know if this year Illinois is gonna make a Final Four. They have a good team, but I don't think it's a Final Four team. This Creighton team, I really think can win a national title. Like, their national title good. I thought that from the beginning of the season with this Creighton team. And Stephen Ashworth he's stepping up big recently. Stephen Ashworth's been playing a lot better. He wasn't really that guy they were expecting him to be early in the year. He's that guy. They have so many guys that can stretch the floor. I got to go with Creighton. So we got Creighton and Purdue in the Final Four on this side of the bracket. Now moving over to this side, we got UConn versus Eastern Kentucky. UConn, no issues there. Texas Tech versus Nebraska. I don't even care. I said it before. I want to see Nebraska get their first ever tournament win. Give me a Tomi Naga 30-point classic. We're going Nebraska. Now we got Wazoo versus Princeton. It's been a great year for Wazoo, an unexpected year. No one was expecting Wazoo to do this good. And you guys might have saw that DJ Rodman quote about him talking about Wazoo was going to be in a rebuilding year, and that's why he went to USC. And then we obviously know how tables are flipped there. So, but they're facing Princeton, who has a chance to make a run or make another run in March Madness this year. But I like the size that Wazoo has. I think it's be hard for a lot of mid-major teams to match up with that. They're kind of an unorthodox, kind of a goofy team, but I think that's tough for smaller teams to handle. So I'm going Wazoo in that one. Now we got Bama, UC Irvine. Now, I want to like Bama, but just their style of basketball can lead to a lot of upset, like to being upset. When you take so many threes and you rely so greatly on the three, if they're not falling, you can lose. And this is March Madness, and so I'm going to say Bama shoots like 3 of 22 in this one. UC Irvine pulls off the big upset, and we got 2 13 seeds advancing in this bracket right here. Now we got South Carolina versus Seton Hall of Virginia. Definitely not picking Virginia. They can't score the ball for anything right now. Definitely not picking them. So I'm picking Seton Hall to beat Virginia in the play-in game. Setting up a South Carolina Seton Hall matchup, I think that's a pick 'em to me. I think you could roll the dice either way, and with that one. But with that being said, the South Carolina team, you can't explain it, but they just win. They just win games. You're always like, you don't necessarily know how or why, but they just win games. They remind me of the 2022 Providence team where, they win a lot of close games and they play pretty good defense. But at the end of the day, you're like, how does this team just keep winning? They remind me of that team. And so I'm going to go South Carolina to beat Seton Hall. Now we got Kansas versus Vermont. Now, we all know Kansas is not deep this year. They're not deep at all, but they have enough to get by Vermont. Vermont's a threat to pull off an upset in March always, so I think Vermont can maybe keep it close, but I'm going to go Kansas to beat Vermont. Now we got Gonzaga versus Villanova. Gonzaga is another team with hardly any depth, but they're playing a lot better basketball right now. They really, these last 2 weeks, they've shot up a ton. They were not really right on the bubble of being in or out of the tournament. Now they're a 7 seed according to Joe Lenardi. Taking on Villanova. It's another team. Gonzaga doesn't have much depth, but as long as they don't get into foul trouble, I believe in Gonzaga more than I do Villanova. So I'm taking Gonzaga here. Now we got UNC versus Colgate. I don't think UNC will be upset there. Give me North Carolina. Now we got UConn and Nebraska. Nebraska gets their first win ever in March, but I think that's where we see it end. I think UConn's going to get that one. Now we got Wazoo versus UC Irvine. Now on the other side of the bracket, we had Appalachian State make it to the Sweet 16. I'm going to say Washington State is going to continue to exceed expectations. They're going to find a way, and they're going to get to the Sweet 16, which would be pretty awesome for their program. So I'm going Wazoo to get it done there. Now South Carolina versus Kansas. That one's hard. I'm not going to lie. This isn't one of your best Kansas teams, but I think Kansas with these matchups, I think Kansas this sets up well for them. I think they get to the Sweet 16 here with these matchups. So I'm going Kansas. Now we got Gonzaga versus UNC. North Carolina's good. They are good. But Gonzaga's good in the tournament. Gonzaga makes Sweet 16s. And this feels like, because they're flying, Gonzaga's been flying under the radar. Flying under the radar so much that it honestly feels like they could maybe make a run because they've been flying under the radar so much. Give me one more upset. I'm taking Gonzaga over UNC. Setting up Gonzaga versus Kansas. The battle, I kind of want to see this battle. The battle of no bench right here. No bench at all for either of these teams. It's going to come down to who gets into foul trouble first. You know, who can, or what bench guy will step up, you know. So I'm gonna go with Kansas here. I think their starting five is just a hair better, or is a little bit better than Gonzaga's starting five, but it would be a fun game. No bench at all. All the starters are gonna go like 35 minutes at least. Give me Kansas to get to the Elite Eight. Now we got UConn, Wazoo. Now Wazoo has the height advantage over most teams, but UConn themselves has a ton of height. You know, we got Klingon and Sampson, and they have a ton of height themselves. So I think this is where it ends for Wazoo. I think UConn beats Wazoo. So that sets up UConn versus Kansas. We saw this matchup earlier in the year. Kansas won the game, but they were at home. They had that home court advantage at Allen Fieldhouse on a neutral site. I think UConn will beat Kansas on a neutral site without too much issue, actually. I think they beat them by like 8 or 10 points probably. Now we're down here to the lower right quadrant. We got Houston versus South Dakota State. I think Houston gets by, no issues there. Now we got Northwestern versus Colorado State. This one, you go either way with this one. I like this one because you got Boo Buie for Northwestern, you got Isaiah Stevens for Colorado State, two of my favorite guards in the country. I would like to see either one of these teams make a run. I think I like those guys a lot. I've went with Northwestern and Boo Buie in the past, and I'll do it again. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to say they sneak this one out. I think that's a really good game, though. Really good 8-9 game. It's going to be a close one. I'll go Northwestern, though. Now we got Auburn versus McNeese State. Now, McNeese State, they're 27-3. Will Wade's doing a crazy good job over there. They're going to also be a trendy team, I think, to pick to win, or to win a game in March. And I'm going to roll the dice with it as well. I'm saying McNeese State beats Auburn. They have McNeese State. They go 8 deep usually, so they have good depth. So you know, foul trouble shouldn't be an issue. And Auburn has lost to Appalachian State earlier in the year, so a team of similar skill level is McNeese State. So I'm going McNeese State to pull off the upset and get by. So now we got San Diego State and Charleston. They matched up last year's tournament. Now different teams, but that Charleston team was better last year than they are this year. And San Diego State beat them last year. So that's my logic. And so San Diego State's, I think, going to beat Charleston. San Diego State has a chance to make another run this year, in my eyes. Now we got Utah State versus Indiana State. This is a good battle here. Battle of the mid-majors, which always sucks to see in the 6-11 game because you're like, you know, you got to see one of them go out. But the 11/6, I don't think we've taken 11/6, and we almost always see an 11/6 upset. So I'm going Indiana State and Robbie Avila, who has the chance to be like America's favorite player in the big dance if Indiana State can get in and gets in. He could be like the nation's favorite player. So I'm going Robbie Avila and Indiana State to get that one done. Now we got Duke versus Akron. I think Duke gets by that one. Now we got St. Mary's, TCU. That one's close, but I like TCU. They've dropped all the way down to a 10. I like TCU. They're a really balanced squad. Give me TCU in this one. Now we got Tennessee versus Quinnipiac. Tennessee, no problem. Okay, now let's go back up to the top. We got Houston versus Northwestern. I just think this Houston team is just too much to handle for Northwestern. I'm taking them. San Diego State versus McNeese State. I like San Diego State still. They defend. It's still a great defensive San Diego State team. Jaden Ledee, the step he's made, he's the most improved player in college basketball. Going from a 7-point game guy to 20 points a game guy, you hardly ever see that. So I'm going San Diego State. Now we got Indiana State and Duke. it'd be fun. It'd be fun if Indiana State can pull this one off, but I'm going to go Duke. Something tells me go Duke, but I want to see it. I feel like it would be like Indiana State would be so close and then they would barely lose and it would break my heart, break America's hearts. But I'm going to go Duke in that one. Now we got Tennessee versus TCU. Tennessee, as of right now, is probably who I'd pick to win it all if I was filling out a bracket. So that shows you how much I like Tennessee this year. So I'm going Tennessee to beat TCU. Now we got Tennessee versus Duke. Saw this in last year's tournament. Tennessee beat them. I think it's gonna be a fun matchup. I think there's a lot to like, but man, give me Dalton Knecht and Tennessee. And even when Dalton Knecht, this Tennessee team is good just outside of Dalton Knecht, but having him as a go-to guy when the offense does struggle it's huge. So now we got Houston versus San Diego State. That's a fun matchup here. But I'm gonna go Houston. I'm gonna go Houston here. I think it's close, but I'm going Houston. Now we got Tennessee versus Houston. This one's fun. I think, Kelvin Sampson's one of college basketball's best coaches. He could probably game plan it up and he'd force somebody else besides Dalton Knecht to beat them. I know that much. He'd force other players to step up. But like I said, I think Tennessee they have enough other options. I like Santiago Vescovi a lot. Jonas Adu has been fantastic recently, and really the whole year. Josiah Jordan-James is kind of the X factor, and he's an X factor in a game like this. He would be huge because the game plan would be more game plan around other guys, and you would need like Josiah to step up or Vescovi to step up. So I'm going with Tennessee still to beat Houston. And so now we got Purdue versus Creighton and UConn versus Tennessee. We don't have any lower seeds in this Final Four, which I don't like that because I like rolling the dice with some lower seeds. So you could probably enter in one of the lower seeds here. But we got 1 seed Purdue versus 3 seed Creighton, 1 seed UConn versus 2 seed Tennessee. So I'm going to start over here with Purdue versus Creighton. And this is a good one here. I'm going with Creighton, though. I talked about how much I like Creighton this year. I think, as good as Purdue is, Kalkbrenner can neutralize Edey. Kalkbrenner is not as good as Edey, but he's not that far off in my eyes, really. So give me Creighton to pull that one out against Purdue. And we got Creighton in the national title game. And now we got UConn and Tennessee. I just told you guys that I think Tennessee they're my pick to win it all. As of right now, I might change my mind as time goes, but I think Tennessee's going to win it all right now. So I'm going Tennessee to beat UConn, setting up Tennessee and Creighton, 2 seed Tennessee, 3 seed Creighton, national title game, and give me Tennessee. I think there's just enough. It's the mix of defense with a lethal scorer, with good guard play. I just think they're a complete team. I'm taking Tennessee, and this really cements Rick Barnes' legacy. So that's what I'm going with. We're going to go with like 77 to 72 in that one. So yeah, that's what we got today. We got Tennessee beating Creighton. Let me know what you guys think. This is such a good time for college basketball. I'm going to have some conference tournament prediction videos coming out this weekend, after the regular season wraps up. Probably do like the Power 6 plus the Mountain West probably is my plan. So I'm going to get a bunch of those out, and I'll have some other videos coming out the week after that too. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one.